Hi there, in this video I'm going to explain you correlation analysis concepts as well as I'm going to show you on how to do it with a no-code AI tool. So let's say you have a data set with lots of columns, and as a data scientist, one of your first thing is to figure out on how the columns are related to each other. So this is where correlation analysis comes into play. So correlation measures the strength, the direction on how two variables are related to each other. And this measurement is done using a correlation coefficient. And this correlation coefficient can have a value between -1 and +1. So for example, here you see two variables which have a very positive correlation of 0.85. And this means that as the variable x increases, the variable y will also increase. Now similarly, a strong negative correlation would indicate that as the variable x increases, the variable y would decrease. Now if the correlation is close to 0, means that there is no relationship between the two variables. Now let us see some examples which will help you understand this correlation analysis with some real life examples. So height and weight, they have a positive correlation. In general, as the height increases, the weight would also increase. In colder countries, the temperature and energy bills have a negative correlation, meaning that as the temperature increases, generally people tend to switch off the heaters, which would mean less electricity bill. But you have to be very careful while interpreting the correlation. If two variables are visually correlated, it doesn't mean that one is causing another one. There is a famous saying that correlation is not causation. So for example, if you have to plot ice cream sales versus drowning, you will see that both are positively correlated. But this doesn't mean that one is causing another one. You do not eat ice cream and then you drown. The both are correlated because both are occurring in the summer season. Now let me show you on how you can do this correlation analysis using a no-code AI tool. And I'll be using my platform called as datajarvis.ai, and you can also try it out. So let us first start by setting up some data. So you can upload your own data using the add button, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use an existing data set which is related to automobile data. So I'm going to select it, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to make it ready to use. Voila, the data set is now available and we can start making some correlation analysis. So here you see a very high-tech screen, and this is inspired by Iron Man assistant Jarvis, and it's one of my favorite characters. So I've selected it to look like Jarvis. So I'm going to now go ahead and select this correlation functionality which is available under the data science menu. Now here I see some sample prompts, and let us first start by looking at some sample data from the data set. So I'm going to use the first prompt, which is going to get me some 5 records from the data. So here you see some results, and this data is from the various car brands, as well as it has got information related to the technical characteristics of the car as well as of the price of the car. And this data set has almost about 20 plus columns. Now, one of the most efficient way to analyze the correlation between all columns is to use a correlation matrix. So let us go ahead and select the columns for which we want to make this correlation matrix. And here you can see all the fields which are available in the data, and they are categorized under numerical fields as well as non-numerical fields. Now correlation matrix is generally made using numerical fields only. So let us go ahead and select all the numerical fields which are available in the data. So I'm going to go ahead and select them one by one. And now my prompt is ready. So let us now execute this prompt. And in a while you will see the results which are back. And here you can see that we didn't do any prompt engineering, and it was very easy and seamless. We just have to make some configurations and use the prompt. So here in the results you see two artifacts. So one is a data table and the second one is a correlation heat map. In addition, you also get a description of the results, which is indicating all the columns which have a strong positive correlation as well as the strong negative correlation. And this is nice because you do not have to interpret the visualizations manually. You directly get all the explanations of the correlation analysis in a very nice textual way. Now let us observe the correlation heat map. And here you can see that in this correlation heat map, you have all the columns in the data which are available as x-axis, as well as the same columns are also available as y-axis. And the color of the cell is indicating this correlation. So a darker blue color would indicate a very strong negative correlation, and a darker red color would indicate a very strong positive correlation. So for example, here we can see a very positive correlation between the length of the car and the curb weight of the car, which is natural. As the length increases, the weight would also increase. And we also see a very negative correlation between the curb weight and the highway MPG, which is also normal. As the weight increases, the miles per gallon would decrease. Now let us also make some additional plots to confirm the correlation analysis. It's always a nice practice, best practice for a data scientist to always validate the results with some other additional visualization. So let us go ahead and select the scatter plot from the visualization menu. So here I'm going to configure my prompt, and I'm going to select the x-axis as the length and the y-axis as the curb weight. And we also see some other parameters such as the color as well as the tooltip. So let us also configure those parameters. And now my prompt is ready, so we can now use this prompt. So Data Jarvis is going to execute this scatter plot, and in a while you will get back the results. So let me now click on this scatter plot artifact, and here, you can clearly see that as the length is increasing, the curb weight is also increasing. So this confirms the results what we got from correlation matrix. Now let us do the same thing for the curb weight and the highway MPG. So if you remember, both had a negative correlation, and let us see on what results we get using this scatter plot. So I'm going to reset my prompt, and I'm going to select the x-axis as the curb weight, and I'm going to select the y-axis as the highway MPG. And I will also set up some other parameters which are related to the color and the tooltip. And let us now execute this prompt, and let us see if we get the results which confirm our analysis which we got from the correlation matrix. So here we see the artifact which is again related to the scatter plot, and if you open it, you will see that there is indeed a negative correlation between the curb weight and the highway MPG. You can clearly see that as the curb weight is increasing, the highway MPG is going down. So this confirms the results what we got from the correlation matrix. Now you can do one more interesting thing. You can pin all these artifacts to a dashboard which will help you see all the visualizations at the same time. And let me first start by pinning the data table. And here on the right hand side, you can see that you have this additional window which has opened, which has now got our data table pinned to it. Now let us also pin the correlation matrix, and voila, you also have the correlation matrix available on the dashboard. And we can go down, and now we can also pin the scatter plot between the length and the curve weight. And we can also pin the scatter plot between the highway MPG and the curve weight. So this is looking nice. The dashboard has got our data table. It has also got our correlation matrix. Then we have an example which shows the positive correlation. And then we also have an example which shows the negative correlation. So this is looking nice, and we can visualize all the analysis what we have done in a nice looking compact dashboard. Now it's your turn to try out correlation analysis using datajarvis.ai. Please do subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the video, and see you soon in another exciting video.